Shalom, welcome to GreatMillStone GMSLondon, giving all praise and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem V'Kar that were honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and honors out there to the brothers on the highways and byways, teaching the truth in all sincerity. Okay, back with another lesson. This one's going to be, based on, the olive tree that's mentioned in Romans chapter 11, okay, in regards to the Gentiles, which is spoken of in this verse. Okay, I'm going to show you that the Gentiles, which make up this olive tree, man, is speaking about the whole nation of Israel. Okay, there's no other nations that are grafted into this olive tree. Okay, it's all part of the same body. Okay, which the focus, the body, the focus of the scripture is about the nation of Israel. Okay, becoming, being put back together. Okay, because you had those that believed and those that didn't believe, and you had those of Israel that was scattered. Okay, that were raised in different customs, with different belief systems and that kind of stuff, until the Lord woke them up. Okay, to bring them into the fold. Okay, and this is what this chapter speaks about. Okay, I'm just gonna run through it. Briefly, okay, but it'll start with Romans 11 verse 1. All right, it says, I say then, have God cast away his people? Okay, we know the Lord's people are the nation of Israel. Okay, Paul says this, says, God forbid. It says, for I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. Okay, so Paul is speaking on behalf of the Israelites. Okay, he identified himself as a Benjamite. Okay, verse 2 says, God hath not cast away his people which he foreknew. What the scripture saith of Elias, how he maketh intercession to God against Israel, saying, Lord, they have killed thy prophets and digged down thy altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life. But what saith the answer of God unto him? I have reserved to myself even 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. Okay, and this number here, 7,000, okay, just represents a complete number. Okay, so wherever that number is, okay, which we know the elect, beginning with the 144,000, okay, are some of those men. Okay, beginning with the elect is the 144,000, and you got the rest of the 1/3 of the nation of Israel. Okay, so the Lord has reserved a particular number of the nation of Israel, okay, to be redeemed. Okay, it says, even so, then at this present time also there is a remnant, okay, a remaining, okay, according to the election of grace. Okay, there is a remainder of the nation of Israel that are going to be redeemed. Okay, and just to add onto this, on the 5th verse, it says, according to the election of grace. Okay, if we go to Isaiah 45 verse 4, okay, it says here, it says, for Jacob my servant's sake, and Israel mine elect. Okay, the elect of the Lord are Israelites. Okay, it says, I have even called thee by thy name, I have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me. Okay, so even those that don't know the Lord, okay, hence these Israelite foreigners, these Israelite strangers, okay, that didn't even know they were Israelites until when the Spirit moved them, okay, to understand that, okay, even they're Israelites, okay, because they descend from, the patriarchs, man. Okay, regardless of, what customs they grew, what land they grew up in, what they grew up believing they were, okay, they still descended back to our forefathers, man, the forefathers of Israel. Okay, so they're still Israelites. Okay, and they're having to come back, okay, to reclaim that, to be brought back into this thing. Okay, so if we go back to Romans 11. Alright, it says verse 6, it says, and if by grace, then it is no more of works. Otherwise grace is no more grace, but if it be of works, then it is no more grace. Otherwise work is no more work. Verse 7 says, what then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. Okay, and this is going into the fact that out of the nation of Israel, the Lord has set up a remnant that He was gonna redeem, right? But the rest of our nation are blinded, okay, and they remain blinded. Okay, that means that, you know, going into the 2/3 of the nation of Israel, which are going to be destroyed, okay, which I've got up here, I'll get in a second. Okay, 2/3 of our people are going to remain blinded. Okay, but the Lord has set apart of the nation of Israel, you know, starting with the elect, the 1/3, okay, that are going to be redeemed. Okay, so it says, what then? Israel have not attained that which he seeketh for. Okay, the whole of Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election of Israel have obtained it. Okay, and the rest were blinded. Okay. This is Zechariah chapter 13, verse 9. Right, it says, and I will bring the third part through the fire. Okay, so of the nation of Israel, 1/3 of them are going to come through the adversity. Okay, they're going to, you know, survive. Okay, they're going to be tried and rewarded, man. Okay, so and we'll refine them as silver is refined, and we'll try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my God. So 1/3 of our people, okay, are gonna, you know, get through this, man. Okay, but 2/3 of our people in verse 8 it says here, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die. Okay, so of the nation of Israel, 2/3 of our people are going to be destroyed in the Lord's judgment. Okay, but the third, okay, which is what we call the 1/3, shall be left therein. Okay, the 1/3 of the nation of Israel is the remnant the Lord is preserving, man. Okay, beginning with the elect. Okay, if I can get these as well, this is Jeremiah 31 verse 7. It says, for thus saith the Lord, sing with gladness for Jacob, and shout among the chief of the nations. Publish ye, praise ye, and say, O Lord, save thy people, the remnant of Israel. Okay, so this is what he's saying here, is to save the remnant of Israel, to save the 1/3, you know, in this time. Okay, because the Most High is not going to save the whole nation of Israel as of this moment. Okay, but the Lord's elect, the remnant he's preserving, they, you know, he's going to save them. Okay, that's why we call ourselves of the hopeful elect. Okay, that is the remnant of Israel that's to be saved, because the rest of them won't be. Okay, on this side. Okay, and this is Micah chapter 2 verse 12, right? It says, I will surely assemble, O Jacob, all of thee. I will surely gather the remnant of Israel. Okay, the remnant, right? I will put them together as the sheep of Bozrah, as the flock in the midst of their fold. They shall make great noise by the reason of the multitude of men. Okay, so he will surely gather the whole of Jacob, the remnant of Jacob, the remnant of Israel. Okay, but he's going to leave the 2/3 to be destroyed. Okay, so if we go back in Romans now, Romans 11. Right, so like I said, I'm trying to establish the topic, or, you know, the focus is in the scripture is speaking of the nation of Israel as a whole, okay, and speaking about the remnant that's going to be set apart, okay, which is the 1/3, the elect, okay. So from back in 7, it says, what then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it. Okay, the truth. The election have attained the truth. All right, according as it is written, God hath given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day. And David saith, let their table be made a snare and a trap and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them. Okay, so no matter how hard, you know, the 2/3 of the nation might try to understand these scriptures, man, they're going to be denied the understanding of these scriptures, man. The Most High is going to leave them blinded. Okay, that's the whole point. Okay, that out of the nation of Israel, only 1/3 of us, okay, are going to receive this understanding. Okay, beginning with the elect. Okay, they're going to understand the truth, right? Verse 10 says, let their eyes be darkened, that they may not see, and bow down their back always. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles. Okay, and at this point, when most people start, is reading this chapter, if they ever read this whole chapter, okay, they'll get to the word Gentiles and forget everything they've read prior. Okay, and also the precepts I just mentioned. They won't think on these precepts. Okay, but they'll straight forget that this is focusing on the nation of Israel. Okay, and then, like I said, because in their interpretation, Gentile means, anyone that's not an Israelite, basically. Okay, but what these Gentiles are speaking about, because this is speaking about the nation of Israel, and you can see clearly when we read on, okay, that it is still speaking about the nation of Israel, but the Gentiles is referring to those Israelite strangers, okay, those people in other lands that didn't know they were Israelites. Okay, so they've grown up being, all kinds of different nationalities on the earth at the time, and that's what they recognize themselves as, man. But, ultimately, they still descended from the nation of Israel. Okay, they're Gentiles because they're foreigners, man. They're strangers. Okay, to the customs of Israel or being an Israelite. Okay, just like all of us are today, we're all Gentiles because we were all strangers from our heritage, man. Okay, until this word came upon us, man, and awoke us, right? So I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, okay, the Israelite foreigners, for to provoke them to jealousy, and that still goes on even today. Okay, this not only happened in the Lord's time, but this is also happening now, because you got members of the Israelite community, let's put it that way, from these different camps and stuff like that, that won't accept Israelites that don't look like them, man, that don't look like the typical Israelite, okay, which we know would be dark skinned. Okay, you got those Israelites out there that reject Israelites that look a different way or come from a different place. Okay, the same thing's happening today, man. Okay, it's only with the elect, okay, or the men of the Lord that the Lord has set up, the true men of the Lord, that understand, not every Israelite is going to look dark as night. Okay, that we're scattered across all continents, all countries around the world, and we're going to come out looking like different ways, speaking different tongues. Okay, we're not all going to be the same, man, because how we've grown up, throughout centuries, man, it has been different. Okay, we all didn't go to the Americas. Okay, or we may have gone to the Americas, but migrations have happened. Okay, migrations have always happened, man, even before the transatlantic slave trade, man. In all our captivities, even prior to that, Israelites had always been migrating to different places, setting up shop there, living there, having families there with the women of that land, okay, and having children, man. It's happened pretty much all our history, man. Okay, so we all don't look the same, man. We all don't have the same tongue and same backgrounds and all that kind of stuff, man. Okay, so there are strangers out there to the Israelite heritage that they have. Okay. Anyway, continuing on, this is on verse 12. It says, now if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? For I speak to you Gentiles, insomuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office. If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, I might save some of them. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, okay, which the world is not speaking about the whole world, this is speaking about the nation of Israel. Okay, the world of Israel, according to Isaiah 45 and 17. Okay, this is the world it's speaking about. It's not speaking about the whole earth. Okay, as I'm sure we can probably quickly look now. Where did it go? World, where is it? Yeah, so this is the word world. Yeah, here is in the Greek, in the Strong's Concordance, G2889, which is cosmos. Okay, which we explained doesn't mean the whole inhabited earth. Okay, the word that should be there, if that was the case, will be icomany, okay, which is not. Okay, the word is cosmos, okay, which means a particular order, okay, which, like I said, that particular order is the nation of Israel, okay. All right, so continuing on, let's move it again. Okay, yeah, so verse 15 says, "For if the casting away then be the reconciling of the world," okay, the world of Israel, "what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? For if the first fruit be holy," okay, the first fruit is the nation of Israel, okay, it's a holy nation, right? It says the lump is also holy, okay, so those strangers, though, those, outcasts of the nation of Israel are also holy, because they come from the same, they're part of the first fruits, okay. And if the root be holy, so are the branches, okay, because they all, those Gentiles, those is, then Israelite foreigners, the strangers, okay, they all go back to that branch, that root, okay, and they're just part of the branches, okay. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou, being a wild olive tree, were grafted in among them, okay, the olive tree is the olive tree is the whole nation of Israel. The wild olive tree is just a condition, okay. They come up a different way. They come up wild, okay. There's the olive tree, this is the same olive tree, okay, but they're being called a wild olive tree because they've grown up in different customs, okay. Then they don't adhere to the customs of Hebrew Israelites, that was given to their foreparents, so they're being dubbed a wild olive tree, okay. So if some of the branches were broken off, and thou, being a wild olive tree, were grafted in among them, and which with them partakest of the root of the fatness of the olive tree, okay, it's the same olive tree, okay, they're both olive trees because they're the same, okay. So if, like I said, if this is speaking about Israel, and as above was speaking about Israel, okay, this wild olive tree is also speaking about Israel because it is still an olive tree, okay. It is of the same, which is what it's been speaking about, the same lump, okay, the branches of the same root. It's because they all go back to the nation of Israel, okay. They're not heathens by the typical meaning, as in they are from different families, okay, or different families of the earth, okay. They all go back to the same family, okay, which is the nation of Israel. All right. It says, "Boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, there bearest not the root, but the root thee. Now thou say then, the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief they were broken off, okay. And thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear." Okay, so of our people, all it is that makes us, followers of Yahweh Shemi Ashai is our belief. Okay, you got of our nation that don't believe. Okay, and you got of our nation that do believe. Okay, and whether or not they come from, speaking in this particular time, okay, whether they came from Jerusalem, where they knew they were Israelites, they followed customs and that kind of stuff, or they came from outside and believed. Okay, they still were Israelites that believed. Okay, and that's what separates Israel, the Israel of God. Okay, the elect, the remnant, they believe. Okay. Says, well, because of unbelief they were broken off, and thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear. For if God spared not the natural branches, okay, those that were keeping the commandments and were in the land supposedly doing their thing, okay, he said, take heed lest he also spare not thee. Because if he didn't spare the ones that were in Jerusalem that knew they were Israelites and were keeping somewhat of the customs and stuff like that, take care of yourself, man, because you've just come in. not knowing a damn thing. You're newly been returned to the nation of Israel. Okay. It says, if God spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee. Behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of God. Okay, because he's had mercy upon them that that weren't identifying themselves as Israelites, that weren't keeping the laws, statutes, commandments. Okay, he's had mercy upon them to bring them back. Okay, so on them which fell, severity, but toward thee goodness. If thou continue in his goodness, if you continue in the law, statutes, commandments, you continue to follow the commandments. Okay. If thou continue in his goodness, otherwise thou also shalt be cut off. So if you can't continue in the things that are written, okay, guess what? You'll be cut off as well. So it's going to be irrelevant whether or not you brought in or brought not. So don't boast against others. All right. So also, and they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. Okay, so if they come around to the belief of the truth, okay, they can be grafted in. Okay, but again, this is all pertaining to that olive tree, and that olive tree being Israel. Okay, wild or not, okay, they're still both olive trees. Okay, so they're still one and the same, just that one was wild and one was not. One was in the land keeping their customs, and the other Israelites were not. Okay, it says, for God is able to graft them in again. It says, for if thou wert cut out of the olive tree which is wild by nature, and were grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree, how much more shall these which be the natural branches be grafted into their own olive tree? For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceit. Okay, like I said, this whole thing is talking about the nation of Israel, and here it confirms it really. So that blindness in part has happened to Israel, because Paul's been speaking about the nation of Israel in parabolic speech, in metaphors. This whole thing has been speaking about the nation of Israel. It's not been speaking about actual foreign nations. Okay. So if I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part has happened to happen to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. Okay, because then it mentions, and so all Israel shall be saved. Well, if this is speaking about something different, then why is it still speaking about how all Israel shall be saved? Because like I said, 2/3 of our people are blind, and they're going to remain blind and be destroyed. Okay, but through the elect, through the remnant, all Israel shall be saved. Okay, so these Gentiles are part of that remnant. They're part of that nation of Israel, so that all Israel can be saved. Okay, this is what he's speaking on. All right, so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. Okay, because it's always been talking about Jacob. It's always been talking about Israel. Okay, and their redemption. Okay, coming through the remnant. Okay, coming through the elect. Okay, and how the Lord was going to grab Israelites from the far corners of the earth and bring them back. Okay, only because the Lord is going to bring them back doesn't mean they knew they were Israelites. Okay, like I said, they've been growing up in different customs. We grew up in different customs. Okay, we grew up in these different lands that we reside in, believing that we were American or we were British or you Jamaican, whatever, man. We've been growing up believing we were something else. It wasn't until the word came to us, man, that we realized, okay, our eyes were opened, that we weren't those things, that we were actually Israelites by descent. Okay, and we're having to be grafted into this truth. Okay, which, is a representation of the olive tree. Okay, but the rest of them, the 2/3 of our people are not going to be grafted back in, man. They're going to remain, wild and be destroyed. Okay. It says, for this is my covenant unto them. Okay, the covenant that is going to be established with Jacob, with Israel. Okay, when I shall take away their sins. Okay, so all this olive tree talk and the Gentiles being grafted in, this is all speaking about for the benefit or for the salvation of Israel. Okay, it's not talking about the salvation of the world. It's not talking about the salvation of any other nation apart from the nation of Israel. Okay. In this gospel. So as concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sake. So you have enemies, man. Okay, because those are against the truth, against Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. So therefore, they are also your enemies, man. So 2/3 of the nation of Israel are our enemies because they reject the truth. Right? So, but as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake. Okay, the elect are loved of the Father. Okay, and the elect are gonna wake up out of whatever situation they're in, and to come to that realization, man, that they're Israelites. Okay, because it mentions this. Like, I don't understand you Christians that teach these things, man. Because this, like, you don't even need really to go into breakdowns. This, you can see this verse or this chapter is speaking about Israel. Okay, but you want to use these scriptures to make it sound like, oh, other peoples other than Israelites can be grafted into this thing. But this is not what this is talking about. Because even if you further read down, it says, for the gifts and the calling of God are without repentance. For as ye in times past have not believed in God, okay, Israelite foreigners, obviously, like I just explained, grew up in different customs. They didn't believe in the Most High. Okay, they believed on their other gods or whatever they believed in. All right, so yet have now obtained mercy through their unbelief. Okay, because like I said, the 1/3 in the elect is a particular number. Okay, but so if it means if not all of those people in Jerusalem that knew they were Israelites that were supposedly keeping the law, if they would all believe, then there is no space for nobody else, right? Okay, but they didn't. Okay, so that means there's space for others to come in. Okay, others of the Israelites that do believe to come in. It's as simple as that. Because there isn't going to be one extra person going to be saved other than the allotted number that are supposed to be saved. Okay, so there is a final total of number of Israelites that can be saved. Okay, it says, for as ye in times were past not believed in God, ye have not now obtained mercy through their unbelief. Okay, so like I said, man, salvation is for Israel. Okay, the Gentiles, which is speaking of here, is speaking about those Israelite foreigners, those Israelite strangers, man. Those that were strangers to the Commonwealth of Israel. Okay, but by descent, by blood, they were still Israelites. Okay, that's why they can return. Because you can't return to something you was never part of in the first place. Doesn't make sense. Okay, but you're being grafted back. Okay? Because you're a part of the olive tree. You are an olive tree. You're a part of the olive tree, man. So the Lord is bringing you back to be a part of it. Okay, because of your belief, because you believed. If you didn't believe, then you would have just been left out there and you would have died believing you was a heathen. Okay, without knowledge of the truth. Okay, but the fact is, you come out from these different lands and you've been convinced by the Spirit that you're an Israelite and you have an inheritance, okay, by blood, by covenant, okay, that belongs to you as an Israelite. Right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, these Gentiles is speaking about us, okay, that have departed from the ways of our culture, of our heritage, man, okay, of our history. Okay, and that's why it applies to all of us today, because we've all grown up being outside of that. Okay, and we haven't been grafted back into this knowledge, man, into this truth. Okay, but it only applies to Israel because only Israel had this truth to begin with. Okay, it didn't materialize amongst these other nations. It never has done. Okay, so with that, I hope that was edifying and well enough explained. But yeah, so with that, I'm gonna say shalom, and I'll catch you on the next video. Next time, shalom.